I've waited for that mature, elevated calm, but my 30th birthday was months ago. And if anything, I care more than ever. I care about shopping cart placement and plastic in the oceans and being a good listener. I care about how I seem to fuck everything up all the time. I care and I care and I hate myself for it. My friend's got one thing right, though. I'm so tired now. 30 years on this earth, and I've been sad at least half that time. On my subway rides to work, I stare at the supposedly neurotic masses who are calmly staring at their phones and think, maybe I'm different from them? Maybe something is wrong with me? Something big. In the past week, I've been scrolling through various mental illnesses on WebMD, searching for symptoms that sound familiar to find an answer. Now, near the end of my session with Samantha, after we've exhausted the usual pep talks and affirmations, I gather up my courage to ask about my internet diagnosis. Do you think I'm bipolar? Samantha actually laughs. You are not bipolar. I'm sure of it, she says. And that's when she asks, do you want to know your diagnosis? I don't yell, lady, I've been seeing you for a fucking decade. Yes, I want to know my goddamn diagnosis. Because Samantha taught me about appropriate communication. Thanks, Samantha. Instead, I say, yes, of course. Something in her jaw becomes determined, and her gaze is direct. You have complex PTSD from your childhood, and it manifests as persistent depression and anxiety. There's no way someone with your background couldn't have it, she says. Oh, yeah, PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I had a crappy childhood, so I kind of figured that. Not just PTSD, complex PTSD. The difference between regular PTSD and complex PTSD is that traditional PTSD is often associated with a moment of trauma. Sufferers of complex PTSD have undergone continual abuse, trauma that has occurred over a long period of time, over the course of years. Child abuse is a common cause of complex PTSD, she says. Then her eyes drift to the corner of the screen. Oh, we're out of time. Let's continue this next week. The first thing I do after our Skype window closes is bring up Google. I've never heard of complex PTSD. Surprisingly, there aren't that many results. I go from Wikipedia to a government page about CPTSD as it relates to veterans. I read the list of symptoms. It is very long, and it is not so much a medical document as it is a biography of my life. The difficulty regulating my emotions, the tendency to overshare and trust the wrong people, the dismal self-loathing, the trouble I have maintaining relationships, the unhealthy relationship with my abuser, the tendency to be aggressive, but unable to tolerate aggression from others. It's all true. It's all me. The more I read, the more every aspect of my personhood is reduced to deep diagnostic flaws. I hadn't understood how far the disease had spread, how complete its takeover of my identity was, the things I want, the things I love, the way I speak, my passions, my fears, my zits, my eating habits, the amount of whiskey I drink, the way I listen, and the things I see. Everything, all of it is infected. My trauma is literally pumping through my blood, driving every decision in my brain. It is this totality that leaves me frantic with grief. For years, I've labored to build myself a new life, something very different from how I was raised. But now, all of a sudden, every conflict I've encountered, every loss, every failure and foible in my life can be traced back to its root. Me. I'm far from normal. I'm the common denominator in the tragedies of my life. I'm a textbook case of mental illness. Well, this explains it all, I think. Of course I've been having trouble concentrating on my work. Of course so many people I've loved have left. Of course I was wrong to think that I could walk into fancy institutions full of well-bred, well-educated people and succeed. Because the person with CPTSD, the person who is painted here on the internet, is broken. The orange walls of my office close in on me. I don't belong here. I don't belong anywhere. I try to stay another couple of hours at my desk in a desperate attempt to prove to myself that I'm capable of a full workday, but I can't see my computer screen. My coworkers, laughing outside my door, sound like jackals. I grab my coat and rush out of the building into the cold air, but even outside, I haven't escaped. With every step, one word echoes in my head. Broken.